What's the worst example of attention-seeking behavior you've seen? I knew a guy who lied about his mother's death in class at school. He said she died that morning but she would have wanted him to go to his classes. We all knew it was a lie. And it was confirmed a few weeks later. He denied ever saying his mother had died. My dad died when I was 11. I was sorta giggly and weird the day after at school. Someone came up to me and accused me of lying about it because I was laughing. I wish I was lying. My dog limps for attention or food. She forgets which leg is hurt and randomly switches extremities. I've even caught her running when she thought I wasn't looking. During one of her attention-seeking episodes. She's the best. My little brother used to run face first into things if people weren't paying enough attention to him. My sister once unconvincingly faked falling down a flight of stairs during Thanksgiving. Then when she was done flopping around she just stayed at the bottom in the fetal position for a good 15 minutes. Eventually she got up when pie was served. We were having a huge Thanksgiving with all the extended family over and she hated that the adults that usually adored her were ignoring her for the younger kids. She was like 12 at the time and every year our grandma tries to get her to recreate it. But she won't. Lol. Your grandma sounds awesome. A girl in my class used to tell everyone she modeled for Oscar de la Renta, Louis Vuitton, Prada etc etc. Bearing in mind she was a short, slightly pudgy, red-faced 13-year-old. Nobody believed her obviously. But nobody really said anything to her. She used to post pictures online of her in her living room or bedroom pretending like she was in a photo shoot. Then one day she uploaded a picture of some bikini-clad model and claimed it was her. You couldn't see the model's face in the picture. It was so utterly embarrassing. The picture had like 200 plus comments before she deleted it. I almost felt bad for her, but for God's sake, what did she expect? Oh man, I've been waiting for the opportunity to tell this story. I work as an EMT in a fairly upper middle class area. It was Christmas Eve. And we were called to a home in town for an unconscious person. As we walked in, I noticed that there were a lot of people in the kitchen dining room. And there was a woman lying motionless on the floor. People weren't really freaking out and everyone was sort of going about their business. Which was definitely strange. Before we can even begin assessing, the daughter-in-law loudly tells us that she thinks that the patient is faking. Well, the patient did not like this one bit. And sat straight up and yelled, "How dare you accuse me of that?" I got the impression that this was not the first time something like this had happened. Edit. A girl at my school used to say that Jesus visited her at night. She even said she had cancer, which was just plain disrespectful as one of her closest friends had recently been fighting cancer. I've seen some truly terrible behavior at weddings. Mothers wearing white. Mothers dressed like they're going to a funeral. EXS of the bridegroom getting engaged to their current so. Mothers giving speeches about what it was like to have their son inside them. Gross. Fathers that go up and rant about how much they sacrificed for their family and basically how it was all their doing that their kid turned out the way he did. Their mother did nothing. Etc. Bridesmaids that will SLT up a bridesmaid's dress. Bought the dress. Took it to a seamstress and basically turned it into something completely different because the bride couldn't be yesier than her. And brothers of the couple announcing they were gay. The industry is an interesting one for sure. Worst attention-seeking behavior I've seen was probably the documentary. The woman who wasn't there about Alicia Stevehead, who claimed to be a 9/11 survivor hero and that her husband died in the attack. She actually had no husband. She became heavily involved in the World Trade Center Survivors Network and basically took over. Really sickening. Girl I used to know but moved to California always posts pictures of her on some island. She makes it seems like she's always on vacation, but she went to that place for a week 4 years ago and took literally 2,000 pictures of her in different bikinis. Her entire Instagram has like 900 pictures of that week. She grew up poor, so I get it. She wants her friends back home to think she's living large, but she's most definitely not, and it's kind of sad to watch. I went to high school with a girl that had a new severe health problem every week. I think she was supposed to have died several times throughout high school. Some examples are: when I met her she told me she had brain cancer. She had appendicitis at least twice. She tried to say her acne was smallpox. Brain cancer again when everybody forgot about the first one. Claimed she burned her tongue so bad that everything tasted like ash to her now. Claimed to be allergic to the school's AC and would start these ridiculously fake coughing fits if she walked under a vent. Would randomly wear bandages and eye patch for no discernible reason. Would randomly wear bandages and eye patch for no discernible reason. Secret pirate. At my best friend's wedding, her aunt showed up with a long white dress and was so surprised and shocked that people thought she was the bride. Hope someone spilled some colored food or drink on her. This one girl would always fake faint in front of the seniors so they would help her. The first time it happened she developed a crush on one of them, so whenever he passes by she'd fake faint. Well, at least she became open-minded about it. Met two women at a hardware convention at a booth next to ours. They were cool. Boss and I took them to lunch, and during lunch if conversation shifted focus towards the first woman, the second woman would get painful back spasms. Of course conversation halted, as we asked helplessly if she was okay. If there's anything we can do. Politely she'd say it's okay and went into a long story of a harrowing injury years ago. We hang on every word, and after a few "wow, glad you're okay" conversation shifted to me. My boss. Injured woman. Then as soon as we paid attention to the first woman, boom, back spasms. Conversation halts. Are you okay? Blah blah blah. By the third or fourth time it was obvious she was intentionally directing conversation away from her more attractive colleague. Back at the booth she had no trouble lifting furniture and picking things off the ground. Bizarre. Someone who posts whatever I guess you never cared on FB, and when someone asks what's wrong they say don't worry about it. Not a specific example, but whenever a person in a group setting is looking at their phone and laughs or gasps dramatically and then looks around expecting someone else to ask what's so funny or what happened. I went to school with a guy who was cast in the lead role in a local low-budget movie. One night I was at a bar. He went walking up to a table full of girls and said, "Hey, ladies, anybody want my autograph?" With the most smarmy grin you ever saw. Had a girl back in high school claim she couldn't feel. Her nerve endings were fried from some trauma she had or something, and that's why she couldn't be tickled. IDK about the trauma thing. But she seems pretty vanilla upper class girl. Of course her friends would help her try and perpetuate this to the point that a small group of guys in her class would make a habit of randomly throwing things at the back of her head. Those eraser caps for pencils, and stuff that was noticeable to be hit by. Anytime she'd turn around they'd shout, "I thought you couldn't feel." Usually with some bullshitty reply like "it caused my head to recoil forward" or "I'm hyper aware of my surroundings and heard it coming." This all became such a joke among everyone in these classes that even teachers would bring up when she forgot about this little lie. Like once when she bumped her hip on a table edge and seemed in pain, the teacher asked, "Oh, are you okay? Wait, I thought you couldn't feel." The girl instantly tried playing it off as my teacher gave her a really face. My friend recently had a baby and some scumbag announced the birth and the name on FB before the new parents had a chance to. That time Bow pasted a picture of the private jet he was about to board. Like and share if you love God. Want world peace. Want this little child's cancer to be cured. Help the homeless. Etc. A girl I knew in high school and rode on my bus route started herself down a sort of self-destructive track of life and would flirt with any and every guy she was near. I specifically remember her cooing to a group of guys about how super flexible she was. Wink wink. She then proceeded to show an example of this by doing an overly complicated movement that ended in basically sitting cross-legged. Think crisscross applesauce. Kids. The guys weren't too impressed. That's too bad. But I had a friend who behaved similarly. Turns out she was being sorely abused and acted out in that way. Years later she's better, but high school and college were rough on her. Hope this person got some help. When I was a kid I always asked my mom to watch me jump. And that's what I did. Jump. A girl at my school had a dad that was always showing up at school at random times of the school week and it was weird. Found out by listening in on some teachers that the girl was texting her dad begging him to bring her more money for food and snacks because she was running out. Other kids would ask her for snacks and she wanted them to like her so much she'd just give her money away. Girlfriend's best friend would claim her daughter was getting molested by her ex-husband and the girl's biological father. She claimed to have called CPS but would say oh, it takes time in our state when nothing would happen. When my girlfriend said she'd call CPS herself, her friend quickly stopped mentioning it. This friend of hers would also claim serious diseases, like cancer, that would quickly be forgotten and never mentioned again. I think those are the sort of people who graduate into poisoning killing people close to them for attention. Ex-roommate waited for all of us to be in the house before letting out the loudest, largest wails. The other roommates and I go to see what's wrong and she tells us she has an ectopic pregnancy, while everyone else is comforting her. I ask, didn't you last have sex 10 months ago? I was correct and still the asshole somehow. Worst part was she was training to be a doctor. Girl I know on Facebook regularly posts statuses like hate life. Full stop. Why can't death come quicker? Comma. Etc. Even better. She ignores all comments on those statuses and deletes any that recommend getting help or offering it. I'm sure people would be irate if she posted I want to die and someone posted well, hurry up. People like her ruin help for people who really are suicidal. The guy who lied about having cancer for karma. My baby cousin of about 3 or 4 months, whenever it wants something it just cries and everybody comes running to him to do things for him like he can't do it for himself or something. Get that toxic baby out of your life. This one girl in one of my classes always lets out the most high-pitched, fake sounding, loud sneezes. And then quickly looks around to see if anyone noticed. Might be believable if she didn't do it at least 5 times each class. OMG. I sat next to a girl in high school who did something similar. She sneezed like a cat. And would sneeze 10 times in a row. I thought she was such a huge attention seeker. Ex-female friend used to be pregnant and then each time she would magically lose the baby exactly at 7 months. Ex-female friend. Is that why she decided it would be easier to become a man and not have to deal with the heartbreak of all the miscarriages? Storytime YouTubers like Tarnum and Go. Yeah, some story times are funny. But when you embellish the shit out of them and have some crazy stalker and almost die 5 times a week, it starts to get annoying. Like we get it, you like attention. My ex-girlfriend insisted that she was pregnant because she didn't want me to leave for college. Spoiler alert, she wasn't. A girl at my school committed suicide. I never knew her and didn't claim I did. However, what's sad is before she died I'd never heard of her. But after she died so many people I knew claimed that they were her best friend and constantly posted on Facebook about it. One girl in particular I'm pretty sure didn't even know her but made statuses like every day pretending they were best friends. Friend of mine and I went over to his new GF's place. She had a goth roomie who was also pretty desperate to be the center of attention. We all pretty much ignored her attempts to make every convo about her. At one point she comes out of the back and keeps going on and on about her new blood red lipstick and isn't it great and so blood red and over and over. A while later someone goes to use the bathroom and a bloody razor is on the sink. She superficially cut her lips to get them to bleed and smeared it around for attention. People who go on mission trips to a destination where people usually go on vacation and then tell every living and non-living thing out there that they went on a mission trip. There's a girl at my school who dresses up as Harley Quinn a cute La Suicide Squad every single day. She does the makeup, dyed her hair, and either wears a Suicide Squad promo poster outfit or the jail outfit. She's been doing this since the movie came out. There's a dude at my school who dresses up as Doctor Who every single day and he acts like he is Doctor Who. and watches Doctor Who on his laptop in the cafeteria every day with the volume all the way up. I think he might need help. X is feeling terrible and sad. A. What happened? X. Don't even ask. B. What's wrong? X. Nothing. X gonna give to ya. People who start their comments with "I know this will get buried but," unpopular opinion but. My sister. She has to be the center of attention in literally every situation. Mother's Day trip for my mom where I pay everything for mom. And sis invites herself along. Pays nothing. Then proceeds to get mad at me and not talk to me for 6 whole hours when I made a joke during some story she was telling. So then my mom feels like she has to smooth things over. I peaced out to the pool and got drunk. Because FCK her, I'm on vacation. Mom ended up drinking with me at the pool while sis pouted in the hotel room. She ended up texting us like 3 hours later to see where we were since we hadn't checked on her. A girl I went to high school with lied about having brain cancer to get the attention of a guy she liked. He started spending lots of time and energy on her, which is what she wanted, because his mom was also fighting cancer. Eventually, it came out that she was lying and he was furious, so he stopped talking to her altogether. That pissed her off, and a few weeks later she tried to get him arrested by saying he brought a gun to school. She even faked texts between the two of them in which he told her who he was going to shoot first. Of course he didn't have a gun, so he wasn't arrested. Somehow she never got in any trouble for this. The best part? After high school they reconnected and now they're married. I have a friend who posts very SI, borderline PRNY, pictures of herself on Tinder. Then, when Tinder creeps talk to her and tell her she's hot, she posts their exchanges on Facebook and talks about how men are trash who only see her as a sex object. She gets attention for being SI and half naked. Then she gets bonus attention for complaining that all anyone talks about is how she's SI and half naked. Man, that's low. What's a Tinder? You know. So I can't avoid it. Lavaball definitely gunning for a spot at the top. A friend of mine had fairly serious Crohn's disease and would constantly post really upsetting, dramatic posts on Facebook about how much pain she was in, how badly her life was being affected by her disease, all true. To be fair, the annoying part was that she'd post these 3-4 times a week, and whenever anyone would mention it to her to ask how she was feeling, how we could help out etc, she would get really angry, saying she didn't want to talk about it and then yell at us for intruding on her personal life. Bitch, if you want to keep it private, don't spill your guts. HA pun. All over Facebook about it every day. So attention seeking. A girl in my office dresses too SI for work. To put it as nice as possible, she wears really tight short dresses and 4 heels daily. She's also got massive breast implants. She has double monitors and both of her screensavers are pictures of herself chest up, barely covering anything. She makes it a point to leave her screen available for anyone to see when she's away from her desk. It's totally weird and inappropriate for work. Sometimes I feel so sorry for her, I want to hug her and tell her that's not how you get attention. I used to play a certain online multiplayer game on a server with a lot of preteens when I was younger. For some reason that place brought out the worst attention mongering behaviors out of these 11-12-year-olds. Every other day you would see someone say they were quitting the server forever so they could get people to say they would miss them so they could feel wanted. On occasion you would even hear about someone who had gone to the hospital for a life-threatening or otherwise serious injury or had killed themselves and it was their sibling talking. People fell head over heels about this crap. And the faker would get enough attention to feel special and do it again later. Preteens can be terrible. One time in my youth I posted on my Facebook because I was bored. I still shudder when I see my old Facebook posts. I ran away from home a few months ago and had to leave my beloved 11-year-old cat behind. I can't have cats at the place where I live now. My dad emailed my boyfriend last week to tell me that my cat had to be put down. I was devastated. But he's old and sickly so I wasn't surprised. I started grieving for him. 2 days after I got the email, my boyfriend showed me something on Facebook. He never unfriended my mom, so her stuff still shows up to him from time to time. My mom posted a picture of my cat from that day and a very casual status about taking him to get a blood test. My cat was obviously still alive. My emotions changed from sadness to relief, then from relief to anger. My dad told me my cat was dead just to hurt me and get my attention. What the actual FCK?